was reading this article in Psychology Today.
Oh, one of my
Basically,
faves.
oh, you like that?
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. The question that I was reading about.
Yes.
Tamara.
Yes, ma'am.
Jeannie.
Yes.
Munchkin.
I was like, did you forget my name?
No, I'll never forget your name. Is being positive a healthy way to cope, or does it make us avoid being difficult or avoid difficulty altogether? For example, you know how you will see somebody and they ask, how are you doing?
Yeah.
You always usually say, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Fine,
I'm
good.
okay.
Yeah. Or how you want to say, oh, you just keep everything positive, change your negative to a positive, or, you know, you don't really actually just take time to understand that sometimes you're going to be all right. It's like, say, for example, I had a breakup, right?
Yes.
And every time I did my breakups when I was early on, I would just go, you know, I'll be fine and I'll just deal with it, instead of, you know, maybe taking some time to myself to understand that it was a breakup.
To mourn the...
And mourn it and give myself some time. But instead, I was just trying to psych myself out.
Jedi mind trick yourself.
Exactly. And this article is saying that by not actually focusing on the negative
Dealing with it.
and dealing with it, then there's a problem.
Oh.
Yeah. And you
I
never
always
make
view
yourself better.
positive thinking as, well, positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I get what this is saying, but I think that there's a level to this. Like, I think for me, myself, I would say my positive thoughts come from my faith, right?
Right.
And a lot of people could be like, oh, that just sounds stupid. But for me, even if, have you ever thought about this, Tam? I especially think you, because we were both raised like in super religious
Yes.
households.
Pentecostal family.
Literally. So, did you ever think, what if it was all a lie? And no,
How would I deal? Right?
And I have thought about that. And you know what? I would still be glad that Jesus was in my life regardless, because it helps me live a better life, a life filled with hope, a life filled with faith instead of fear.
Yeah.
Like, it gave me something to believe in. And I believe that we all need something to believe in. And that for me is good enough. So when you think about positive thoughts, even if everything is going wrong, I think it's important to not avoid
Right.
that something bad is happening. I think you should confront the situation, recognize that this is really bad what's happening to me, but there has to be a reason for it. And I have to believe and be positive that it is all working together for my good.
As I got older, I started realizing, like, when I had breakups, that instead of avoiding it, I would give myself a set, like, maybe a couple of days to deal with it. Like, you know, I would eat the ice cream, or I would, you know, cry, and I would just be the reality of I was hurt.
You'd be
Instead
sad.
of trying to act
you
like
were
I
sad.
wasn't.
You were allowing yourself to feel those emotions.
Right.
However, I think there's a difference between being positive and justifying something. So, for an example, you meet a girl who's just always, you know, rude, right? And then you have that friend like, oh, no, she's not rude, she's just real. No, sweetie, you're justifying it. You're not seeing it for what it is, right? Because there's sometimes people who use being real as an excuse to just be rude.
Right.
I can't stand that. However, when I think of being positive, all you're doing is looking at a situation with a different perspective, right? And I know for me, when I go through situations, when I look at it from a positive standpoint, doesn't mean I'm not dealing with it. It just helps me get through the problem. A perfect example is, you know, when people are like, look at the glass of water, is it half, you know, full or is it half empty? I'm not saying that there isn't less water in it. I'm just choosing to look at it from a different perspective, and I'm saying, no, it's half full. I'm gonna get through this.
Okay, now somebody would say, but are you being in denial?
That's
No,
what the
because
article
I
says.
see that the water isn't all the way up to the top. Being in denial would be, no, it's not halfway. It's full.
But
I'm
going
still
back to
saying it's
Lonnie's
half
question,
full.
I think
empty.
for me, when I hear your question, especially in that context of asking how people are doing, we don't take the time, or we feel that people don't have the time to really answer and sit there like a therapy would, or a therapy session where you'd be like, well, actually, life is kind of whack right now, and I just got broken up with, and I'm broke, and I'm tired, and I'm stressed, or whatever it may be. But I think there is a difference between being positive and being dismissive. So, if you dismiss the reality of the situation, sure, there might be a time where you're in passing with somebody, so you don't have time to tell them all that you have going on. But you got to somewhere check it within yourself, because I learned at 40 that when you name it, you tame it. When you name what that issue is, right now I'm really tired. Right now I'm due for a vacation. Right now my kids are really, I gotta switch my schedule up because I'm not seeing my kids. When you name it, then you actually claim it and you can figure something out. But when you're just like, I'm fine, because you feel that others don't have time, or you feel that nobody else wants to hear your problem, or you have said I'm fine to yourself, that you haven't checked in with yourself, that is when you're not being positive.
And I think
hit
we have
you like
to,
a
but
bag of
if we're honest, I think we have to be better with responding to reality like that. Because if you ever gave a real answer when they're like, hey, how you doing? Not good. I just had a horrible morning. Blah, blah, blah. And then the people are looking at you like,
No,
no,
the
but
worst
okay.
one is when there's an automatic reply because they actually weren't even listening to what you said.
Worse.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's so
you
real.
ask somebody, how are you doing? I'm good. Guys, this has happened to me.
Yeah.
Ask me how I'm doing. Go.
How you doing?
doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Good.
Not so
great.
well.
You want us to be-
I'm having a rough morning.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. How are you doing? I
Yeah.
didn't hear it, and
Yeah.
I asked the same question again.
Yes.
Because I was just so in my world doing my
true.
own
I
thing.
only
Yeah.
do that if they
That's
asking me
honest.
for some money. How you doing? I broke. Oh, how you doing?
The reality is, sadly, we do need to pay attention more to each other. I know I have to do way better at that.
Yeah.
But I love what Jeannie just said was, ask yourself how you're doing.
Well, and that's what was the
you
purpose
gotta
of it.
ask yourself and be
Yeah.
real
With
with
yourself.
yourself about it and
Yes.
then find a positive perspective. You
Yes.
see how I did that? Bam,
Yeah.
bam, boom?
Bam! Eh?